descriptions of some of this Vault 7 stuff, and I'm just going to be making a few comments on it that reflect my own understanding, put in simple terms that I can understand. This material is available for anyone capable of more research on it, and I would greatly encourage that. So what happened was, and is continuing to happen, WikiLeaks got hold of a lot of CIA documents that released their capabilities, their intelligence capabilities for hacking and surveillance through electronic media. This media affects Apple computers and devices, Android, Windows, Linux, and even Samsung TVs. Now, the first release was called Dark Matter. This is something that, and again, I'm just going to try to say it in my own understanding. I welcome comments for people who can correct me or explain it even further. But this I'm trying to put in my own words. It invades Apple or Mac devices through thumb drives and Ethernet adapters, which means you stick a thumb drive in the machine and that thumb drive can be infected, and there you go. You've got this malware installed in your device. Ethernet adapters, I'm not sure how that would work, but that's where you hook up, I think, where your connection, your access point is onto the internet, and could get through your router, possibly. If somebody has a better way of saying that, please comment. Next, marble framework. Now, this appears, the description says that it hampers the forensics by masking the metadata and disguising malware so it won't be recognized, so you don't know what it is. You can see how that would be a valuable thing to do. You get malware or something in your computer, your cell phone, and it looks like something that it's not. So you don't, everything looks fine. It's disguised. Now, as I go down this list, I think it's important to say that each one of these devices or tools can be used with the other tools. So the CIA or the NSA or whoever, the FBI, whoever's using these, they're not just using one of it, they're using one in combination with the other, for whatever purpose that they have. So going through this list, we're discovering and finding out just what is possible to get a broad overview from a layman's point. Grasshopper is the next one. This is what allows malware or a virus to persist so that it won't go away when you try to delete it to clear it out of the machine. It hops from one area of your computer to another. You chase it all over the place and it finds places to hide where you can't get it. That's what Grasshopper does. Hive is a malware that calls out to the CIA or whoever put it in there for more instructions. As soon as it's online on the internet, it's in there and it calls out and asks for hey, what do you want me to do now? I'm in. Give me some instructions. This one, the next one we've heard about more than most, I think, Weeping Angel. This actually turns your Samsung TV into a microphone and a listening device when it's and sending that data through the internet back to whoever's listening in. Some of this stuff is hard to believe, but it's kind of scary. This is like Big Brother in real life. Scribbles. Scribbles is a document watermark tool. So basically what that means is it takes a document or a file and it puts in the metadata, it embeds a web beacon into the document, so like a locator beacon, so that whenever that is opened up in a computer that's hooked up to the internet, it finds a way to send out the alarm that, hey, beep, 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 I'm here. This person has a file that you're looking for. Now, watermarking and embedding the metadata in a document, I'm going to give just an example that I understand. When you type up a document, you have stuff in the metadata like the size, font, the type of font, the margins, how much your paragraph space is, all things like that. And my understanding is what Scribbles does is it hides in that putting that web beacon out so that it gives an alert to whoever gets it. Archimedes. I've read about, I remember reading stories, fiction stories, about hackers that take over your computer and show you something that they want you to see. Well, they put a duplicate. I'm not saying this right. Your normal TV screen that you see is replaced by one that they put there, and in the meantime they took over your computer and you see just what they want you to see, and you go just where they want you to go. So that's a pretty scary one, and that's probably the one that I read fictional stories about the most, where they take over the web browser and show a fake browser instead. After Midnight is another one that's for Windows. It loads and activates malware gremlins and checks back after they're installed. It checks back for new instructions. I remember a year ago, I got up in the middle of the night and I looked over at my Windows computer, and damn it, the thing's turned on in the middle of the night. I'm going like, what's it turned on for in the middle of the night? Well, I don't know what it was turned on for, but this is an example of how things can be self-activated in the middle of the night, and you got activity going on your computer when you shouldn't have. Athena. Windows, it's for Windows, and it lets remote controllers download and upload and configure settings. It's actually a remote user that comes in and acts like you can. free access to your computer. It allows that remote user to take over every function of the computer. Pandemic shares files with remote users. They can come in and kind of scan, see what files they want, and then they can upload them onto their computers. When I've been looking through these, I realized that some sound very close to other ones, but each one has an area of specialization, and that's why they're used together as a series of tools or a set of tools that can be used together. Cherry Blossom is probably one of the most dangerous and most powerful ones, even though it doesn't sound like much at the beginning. Cherry Blossom monitors the internal activity of what you're doing or what your unit is doing by infecting routers and access points to the internet. An attack by Cherry Blossom is what is called the man-in-the-middle attacks. And these are really what's scary, because you have 3 points. You have your web page, your website, which is way out there on a server someplace. You have your own computer, and then you have the path back and forth to that. Cherry Blossom attacks that path. Now, a lot of people think, oh, I'm going to use Tor, the Tor browser, and that anonymous pathway to get through, and that so that nobody can detect that middle pathway. What's happened is, well, let me back up and say, and it has been generally thought that that's secure, that you can't break through a Tor route system that's hidden and encrypted. But it turns out that is not correct. Cherry Blossom, or perhaps something like that, is able to do man-in-the-middle attacks, and it will latch on to your signal somewhere in the middle there. I don't know how it does that, but I'm speculating here that it could do that by the CIA or the NSA really wanting to get you as an individual. And what they do is they put your website, or they put your personal information that they have, and they send it out like as if it was a virus or something. In other words, all of these computers, your computer, my computer, they get these antivirus updates. Imagine that these updates that every computer in the world, in the country or whatever, is getting includes you. What's that do? It doesn't matter if you're using an anonymous routing system. You're going to try to get through some Tor hidden route, and they're going to think you're a virus. And they're going to go, well, block, you can't get through. Brutal kangaroo.